This is episode number 2 of the Cyntigra Podcast. Now, the Cyntigra Podcast. All businesses are faced with the same challenge: how to grow and acquire more business, and meeting that challenge for any business is critical to their survival. The Syndicate Podcast interviews CEOs and top management executives from large companies in Africa to share some practical steps on how small and medium-scale enterprises can position themselves for global opportunities and business contracts from organizations. We're here with the head group supply chain, Interswitch. Interswitch is an organization which has actually transcended the minds of a lot of people, starting as a small business, and now it's I can call them the financial technological giant in Africa. And so here we have Mr. Oluseyi Oluwehinmi. He is once again the head group supply chain, Interswitch. It's nice to have you on our podcast.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. And it's nice to be here.
Okay. So we have questions for you. I believe these questions are actually going to help whoever is watching or is listening,
Okay.
how they can become successful as business people. So I'm going to start out with a question that I believe anybody out there will want to ask.
Okay.
Interswitch is it's an amazing brand. It's an amazing brand.
Thank you.
What were the structures
Okay.
that was actually put in place when the business was starting up? Because I know you've been in the company for a very long period of time,
Okay.
and you've seen a lot of transition.
Yes.
And so what were the structures that were put in place that has become the springboard for the rising of Interswitch?
All right. So for me, from my perspective, I think the first thing was the right people. As you know, Interswitch, you would have studied it, that it started in December 2002. It was started by Michel Elegbe, the founder and group managing director of the company. For me, the first structure that he got right was putting the right people in place. He had he has a team of fantastic, Nigerian grown, very intelligent, inquisitive minds that he put together as a management team. So I joined the company. The company, like I said, started in December 2002. I joined the company in November of 2003. By the time I joined the company, I was the 23rd hire, but we were 17 at the time because, about 6 people had left before I then joined. And basically I joined for not supply chain management that I do now. I actually joined for project management then. Okay. So the company was going through some struggles with project management, and I needed someone to come in and steady that boat of project management, to get it to run as a system, to run as something that would support the quick delivery of solutions. So I came in to also support that. So I would say the first structure in place was the right people.
Okay. Then
of course the right technology and the right systems. Then I think all that based on the fact that the founding managing director was close enough to the market, to the customers, to know their pain points, and was able to match the right technology, the right systems, the right people, with solutions and products that solve those pain points amongst the banks and amongst the financial ecosystem and the customers at the time. So at the time we even started the business, the term fintech was not popular, but right now that's what it's been coined as, and that's where we started from.
Wow. So the right people.
Yes.
Because I in Africa, when you're starting a business, I'm saying in Africa because Africans we face this challenge. Starting a business, because maybe you don't have the funds to pay people. You just bring in your friends and family, and at the end of the day, you have a lot of issues. So you mentioning the right people, I think it's something one can really take note of.
Yes.
But now, talking about the right people, How do you know the right people?
Okay.
How do you know the right people? Shouldn't I hire people that at least I should like? I like this guy.
Okay.
I like this dude.
So that's an interesting way to look at it. So, for the past, I would say, close to 16 years, I've worked with Mikel Elegbe. He is a hands-on person. He is a pragmatic person. He's a person who more or less manages with a hands-on style, not aloof. So he gets involved, he gets to know, then he gets to put together a structure that will solve the challenges on ground and get the job done. So he's a result-oriented person. Okay. So I would say that from what I saw, his style of resourcing for human beings was not basically just because he liked people. I think he deliberately went for people who are result-oriented in their approach to doing things. He deliberately went for people who are quick to adapt and learn. Now, you have to have it in mind that the sector we're coming into at the time really did not exist in real terms in Nigeria. What I mean by that, we came in to put together a platform that is able to serve several entities at the same time. So interoperability, for example, was our focus. Because when we came in, we saw different financial institutions forming their own systems, their own ecosystems, with their own customers, and there was little interoperability between these, institutions. So we came in talking things like you can actually serve other customers outside of your own customers. We came in saying things like we can give you a platform where you all can interconnect and have a synergetic, way of doing business. Instead of just thinking your own customers, all of a sudden your systems, the internal systems in your banks are serving the customers of other banks. And many people thought it wasn't possible. So he had to really get people that will definitely scale up, in knowledge, learn and apply themselves to deliver solutions. So the first team of engineers, for example, had to go to South Africa to actually get a system working that would be deployed in Nigeria eventually for the business. They had to go for training, they had to go. So these were people that, yes, the knowledge was new, but basically for them, it was no barrier that something new was being implemented. They felt, yes, we can do this. They were motivated to do it by the leader at the time. And yes, it was done. So I remember something Mitchell used to tell us then. It was, I trust that even if you find yourself in the deep end, you will swim. He would tell everybody that. So it was a way of him transferring that can-do attitude. This is something that can be done in our environment, even though people were saying it cannot be done. He had that motivation within him that can be done, and he transferred that spirit. It was contagious. Come to Interswitch at that time. Everybody was like, "We can get this done," and you hear things like "get it right the first time." There was we really didn't want to fail. First, we wanted to make sure results are delivered the first time, to the delight of customers. And here we are, 17 years after, and it's been interesting.
Wow. So, result-oriented leadership.
Yes.
You don't employ people because you've known them over the years. You just like them. You don't employ people based on emotion. You employ people based on vision. You employ people based on getting the job done. And that's a beautiful one. And I also like what you said about motivating the people, because I discovered that if you're doing a small business, you are not motivated as a leader. You can't motivate your own people.
Definitely. Okay.
And it's a beautiful one. So I have a question which I think should be good if you address it. It's I wrote down here. I say most established organizations prefer doing business with already established brands rather than patronizing startups. I interviewed someone on I think to the discussion on LinkedIn. I was like, what are the challenges you face as a business in trying to get new clients? They're like, one of the issues is most of these businesses don't like to change their vendors.
Okay.
I said, why do you think so? He said,
think they are not too sure if you can deliver, and they love to play it safe. So integrity and it's an issue. People want to be sure. People want to be sure that we've been doing it this way. Why should we change?
Okay.
So how was the startup Interswitch able to communicate this new idea that was coming in to top management of organizations, and they were able to buy the idea and change their system? How were you guys able to do it?
So interesting thing. So I'll start, by saying that, when I joined Interswitch in 2003, we were basically young men. Oldest of us was about 33.
Okay.
Yeah. So these were young men in their 30s and 20s, who believed totally what they were doing. Now, we have always had something that we hold very dear to our hearts.
Okay.
We never sell solutions based on maybe emotions or based on, trying to circumvent the system, as people tend to think is always done in Nigeria. We always had value to deliver. So basically what would happen is that we went to bank executives confident that the solution we had will solve their problems. And by the time executives at the first bank at the time believed that this was something that we could do, and they gave us a try, and the UBA at the time believed that this was something we could do and gave us a try, the GT Bank at the time, which was also an upcoming bank, Zenith Bank at the time also, by the time they believed and gave us a chance to try, and we proved it to them that what we had was not just talk, but we could walk the walk. And they saw the solution deliver value. That was it. So I'll tell startups, sell value. Don't go in based on emotions, on people you know and stuff. Yes, those things could be important one time or the other, but ultimately what you have should be able to. So for example, for us, our current vision, when you look at it, we tell people that we create transaction solutions that enable individuals and communities prosper across Africa. And that's what happened when we entered the financial transaction space in Nigeria. So we gave a solution to the financial sector of Nigeria that will enable different entities interoperate, do transactions, deliver services, and get value, get paid for those services across the different platforms. We did that for big, banks. We did that for big corporates, and here we are because the solution delivered something of value that could not be ignored. And that's the way I believe small businesses can thrive. Go there with the confidence of what your solution or your product can deliver. That's what you sell. Give a promise and back it up with action. And if that is done, your customers who are satisfied will tell other customers who are satisfied. Yes.
So, meaning the short lifespan of a lot of startups in Africa, a lot of small businesses, can be traced to some of the things.
Yes, inability to sustain value delivery. So it's not just about making money. There are sometimes to deliver value, you might just have to break even or make a loss. But if the value you delivered, you have, delivered it in such a way that it's convincing, then the financial rewards will come.
Okay. Now, I think we're going to take it a little bit deeper.
Okay.
Interswitch, as a business executive in Interswitch now, what can you say is a major factor? Because now I want to connect it to some practical things that whoever is listening can pencil down and say, okay, number one, this is what I'm going to do. Number two, Now, some of the factors that that, okay, these are the secrets of this organization, and this is how a trader can apply this.
Okay.
This is how, whatever business you do, this is how you can start, whether from idea stage into whatever. But I have an idea. I want to become successful. Step one. So you should do this, because this is what we did.
Okay.
It's a company.
Good.
Step two, so you can go. So
Okay, fantastic. So for me, like I said earlier on, first is the right people. You can't compromise on that. Bring people on board that are ready to work to get results. Now, in forming the organization itself, an organization must be delivering solutions to problems.
Okay.
The question then is fundamental. What problems are you solving?
Okay.
Now, are those problems that you're solving being solved in a way that is relevant to the market? Market meaning that's where your customers exist.
Okay.
Yes. So you can identify. So, for example, people say there are a lot of problems in Nigeria. Understand that also means there are a lot of opportunities in Nigeria, because without problems there won't be opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah. So even if a system is near perfect, that imperfection is a problem that can be solved.
Okay.
So the more you can identify problems that are dear to the heart of customers, of the market, and you can show how relevant you are as an organization, your organization, your products, your solutions, you can show how relevant you are to solving those problems, then I think you got something right. So get the right people, be sure that your products and services are solving relevant problems.
Okay.
That's one thing. Then ensure the right partnerships are forged to deliver those products and solutions to solve those problems. So you are not a jack of all trades.
Oh, yes.
You are not a specialist of everything. You are a specialist of something.
Okay.
But in delivering solutions, there's something called a value chain.
Okay.
In that value chain, there are different entities that play. So what I mean by that, there are different people that can deliver value through that chain to which you belong, to the end customer, to ensure that the end customer's problems are solved. Now, do not be too proud as a startup to think that you know everything.
Yeah.
If there's anything I learned very well from the GM, the group managing director, is that he ceded control to people that he knew needed the control to get the job done.
Okay.
It was not about, I must own everything.
Okay.
All right. So for a person who had the founding idea to have given control to partners that were relevant to get the job done, is something that most entrepreneurs, I believe, can learn from. Make sure you don't get too carried away with having control over everything. If you know you need to give control for a job to be done properly in the value chain, by all means form a partnership, of course, with the proper legal documents and everything in place. Give that control, let that partnership succeed, because it's better you have a partnership that succeeds than stand alone and fail. So that's what I mean by sustained value delivery system. So we make sure that the people that we partner with share our kind of ideals. So for example, some of our core values like innovation, some of our core values like customer success, team and individual efficiency, principled communication and all that. Those are the kind of values we look for in partnerships that we forge. So we don't forge partnerships just because this person's uncle owns the company or this person's brother owns the company.
Yeah.
We forge partnerships based on what you are bringing to the table.
Yes.
That's relevant to get the solutions, to solve those problems out there to where they need to get to.
Okay. So I pencil this one down. Right people.
Yes.
Sustained value delivery.
Yes.
Right partnership.
Fantastic.
Is there any other one you're adding to it?
Yeah. We can also add technology. Right technology.
Okay.
Because really, we're a technology firm.
Yes.
So you call us a fintech because we're a financial technology firm. So you have to have the right technology. And now we are in a blessed time of existence. What I mean by that is the kind of technologies that exist now didn't exist barely 50 years ago, 100 years ago. The kind of things that someone can do sitting at his or her desk at the age of 19 could not be fathomed only 50 years ago, because you got technology available to you. So interesting thing is this: Nigeria doesn't have to have all the technology you need now. You can source those technologies from outside Nigeria. So what you can actually be, you can be a point where you can aggregate the right people and the right technologies and deliver solutions, and you get the job done. Now, a lot of our technology is homegrown, but also have partnerships from outside Nigeria to ensure that it gets. So the important thing is, it's a global village. Go out there, source for the right things you need, right technology, right people, right systems. The important thing is to deliver the solution, the concepts that you have, that you know works in your heart. Get it working out there in reality, and let people see what can be done.
Okay. When I was starting my own company, documentation,
Great.
structure was one of the things I had to search for. I had to Google a lot of things. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to start a company and from day one I'm already breaking some of the rules and regulations of the country. And so what's your counsel for small businesses in compliance and ethics? I know you're an ethics professional.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Let's talk about that. So,
okay, fantastic. So that's another thing. So one of our core values in Interswitch is ethical conduct. So what do we mean by that? We won't bend the rules or anything. We deliver value and we deliver it ethically. So in forging partnerships, for example, outside Nigeria, we are looking at obeying rules and regulations. In Nigeria, we're looking at being the poster child for rules to be obeyed. We wouldn't flout the laws and regulations. So, for example, we are governed by bodies like CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria. We are governed by different bodies depending on the kind of business or the type or the part of the business that needs to do one thing or the other. So, yes, compliance and ethics is very important, because in a very, I don't want to use the word unstable, in some clients that, you find some not so ethical practices being the norm. What will get you going on the long term is if you stay out of the murky waters. Because if you're on the good side of regulations, no matter what happens down the line, you find out you've already built a system, the basis on which integrity can ride on. All right. So, financial technology is really a business of integrity. It's a business of trust. It's a business of assurance.
Dealing with people's money.
Yes, dealing with people's financial transactions. You want to make sure you're trusted. And the best time or the best way to start doing that is to be correct ethically, to be compliant to regulations, to be aware. Ignorance is not an excuse. So, yes, that's very important. And like I said, we live in a time where technology is so available to us. We have some of the largest, libraries available to us, your Google search machines, your Wikipedias and all that. And apart from that, if you want to do more specialized searches, you can easily Google up who to meet, what bodies to interact with. And many of these bodies and professionals are more than glad, to avail themselves to a startup to say, okay, guys, if you want to get it right this way, then you have to be mindful of these regulations. You have to put these papers right. Your taxes have to be well, done. Your books have to be, your financial and accounting principles have to be intact. Make sure this and that is in place. So your governance, your business governance has to be definitely on point. Yes, your reporting structures, your hierarchy, all those things, like you said, documentation, how you handle documentation, authorization, access of those documents, classification of those documents. So all those things are very important, because that's what sustains you as a business as you grow. Because as the years go by, you need to refer to some things. It's like a chain, if the link in your past is weak, it could cause a lot of, it could break the whole structure going forward. So if you have a solid foundation where people will know that we can trust this person, they deliver on their promises, they abide by regulations, they deliver value, they don't cut corners, they don't bribe. When you have that kind of reputation, I tell you, you have invested for the long term.
I believe there's somebody out there saying, how do I go about this? I don't have the money to employ people to do this. This is a small business, but just starting. Because these are realities that we face.
Yes.
So, but from the way you've actually put this whole thing, you've made it sound so serious. And somebody who is just starting a business say, I don't think I can be able to.
Interesting.
Talk about all those kind of things.
Interesting. So, mind you, we're talking about a company that's been in existence by December this year for 17 years.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't just start last year. So, I say all these things because it's a journey we've come through. But for you just starting, you have to decide to start. There's something called scaling. You start small and you scale up. So, for example, where business, like I said, started with about 6 people. When I joined, we were 17. I was the 23rd to be employed. But they were 17 at the time I joined, so I was the 17th person. Now, guess what? We're about 700 plus strong staff. So we grew. So you start somewhere. And start with where you are. But start well. That's the important thing. Start well. The little that you have to start with, start well. Now, talking about money, we didn't have the money. Like I said, we were young men. The oldest of us was about 33 thereabout at the time. Most of us were in our 20s, early 30s, or just breaking into 30. We didn't have the money. But one thing we had the skills. We had the talent.
Yeah.
We definitely had the time. At that time, we could work on projects non-stop, 2 days, no sleep. And we're still going. We had the time. Most of us were single.
Yes.
Not even married at the time. So, when people who have the money see that this guy is investing his time in making sure this thing works, these guys have got the character, they've got the talent, they've got what it takes to make it happen, they will bring their money. So, for example, how much started Interswitch? About 200 million.
Okay.
But here we are today. We never had to borrow any kobo for the first 8 years. And even at the time that we got some funding, it was not because the business was in trouble. It was because we needed to expand.
Okay.
Why was it easy for those, even outside the country, to notice and bring funds to the business? It's because they saw something that was already working. They saw a track record of upright, compliant to regulations, ethically, sound business that they could trust.
Yes.
They saw integrity.
Okay.
They saw sincerity in what we're doing. So they could say, we'll back these guys up to get more done. So that's one thing you should be looking at as a startup. It's everybody knows you don't have all the money. Except maybe you come from a billionaire family or something and you got money from a family. Of course, we know that's mostly not the case. So people are ignorant, but if you can show that your solutions work, that you are 101% behind making sure the solutions work, if you can show that you can deliver, if you can show that you are focused on this, you've got the time for this, people who have the funds will partner with you to get it done.
Wow, this is amazing. For those of you listening on the podcast, I believe by now you should have jotted a lot of things down. Right people, right partnership, delivering value, solving a major problem that will provoke other people to even want to invest into what you're doing. And we appreciate this wisdom coming from this amazing personality. We have one more question for him, but we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to do justice to that last question.
Now, the Cyntigra Podcast. All businesses are faced with the same challenge: how to grow and acquire more business. And meeting that challenge for any business is critical to their survival. The Syndicate Podcast interviews CEOs and top management executives from large companies in Africa to share some practical steps on how small and medium-scale enterprises can position themselves for global opportunities and business contracts from organizations. Okay, welcome back. We still have Mr. Oluseyi Oluwehinmi in the building. He is the head group supply chain of the fintech giant Interswitch. Right now we are at the Interswitch headquarters and we're discussing how small businesses can actually thrive, become successful, even in the midst of the challenges we face, the challenging times we're in. You can still become a successful brand. So he's sharing some of the wisdom they applied as a company, and now they are actually recognized as, if not arguably, the number one fintech company in Africa. So I have one question which I know he's going to do justice to. Now, Cyntigra as a brand, we are linking small businesses to the purchasing agents of large organizations.
Okay.
Because we believe that one of the major key to scaling is more business opportunities.
Sure.
If I start with one staff and we get a deal, and the deal will require more hands, I bring in more hands. I employ 3 more people. I've reduced the unemployment goal.
Yes.
And so more business opportunities come, the small business can transcend. Now, there are some businesses that may be a little bit skeptical about changing their vendor, like I said earlier. So, what is that for your company, the Interswitch? What is that thing you guys look out for choosing a vendor?
Okay.
What do you look out for before taking a business and say, okay, I want this business to be a major supplier of this product?
Okay.
What are the things you expect from that business? What are the things that will make you enlist the business as a vendor of Interswitch?
Great. We've said several of these things, so I'll pick the most relevant of them. You mentioned compliance and ethics.
Okay.
So for us, we're a business who believes in integrity, upright ethical conduct, making sure you're ethically correct. Yeah, compliance regulations. So for us, we undertake what we call a due diligence of businesses before we take them on. We are checking for these things. Are you compliant to tax regulations? Have you been paying your taxes? Your tax certificates up to date, for example. We're looking at your customer view of the kind of company you are, your referrals. We're going to call them up and say, in doing business with this company, what has been your experience? We're also going to be looking at things around your financial health.
As a company. Okay.
Okay. How healthy have you been all this while you've been operating? Okay. So, technical competence, of course, competence technically, let's know if this job you are claiming you want us to onboard you for to do, you can actually do it. So these are the things that we look out for. So it's not just about the skills and the talents and what you think you can do. It's also about character, integrity as an organization. So we tend to look for organizations that believe in the kind of core values we believe in. Are you an innovative kind of organization, for example? Do you believe in customer success, for example? Do you believe in teamwork, in individual efficiency? Do you have the kind of culture that says we must get the job done? Do you deliver on your promises? You find that most of these things I've talked about really don't cost money.
Yeah.
If you already exist as an organization, you don't need extra money to get these things in place that I just mentioned. For you to be tax compliant, for example, it's the money you're earning, you should be tax compliant. For example, if you've got a team that believes in collaboration to get the job done, then you've got a team that's got the right culture. So it's not only about size, it's about your nature as an organization. And if we find the right organizations with the right mindsets, the right nature, the types that believe you don't need to bribe to get away through, we believe in the value we deliver, and we believe in getting the job done, then of course we're ready to take our chances with such organizations and give them jobs that are commercial to what we know they can handle. That's it for us.
Wow. So I hope if you were thinking of, I would love to be a vendor for Interswitch, you've heard it from the executive himself. He has given us, has thrown a lot of light on things you need to put in place. You can be successful as a business.
Yes.
You just need, in fact, like he said, most of the factors that make you successful in business is actually not money. It's not financial. I think it's more of character. And we believe that Africa can become a place, a hub of successful businesses. It's a hub. We're already a hub of opportunities, but now we're talking about becoming a hub of successful businesses.
Definitely.
And we just want to thank Mr. Sheyi for giving us this time.
My pleasure.
And it has been enlightening. It has been awesome. We believe subsequent times we will have more things to share that will become relevant and for any business at all in Africa to become successful. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure.
Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you. And Cyntigra, keep the good job done. And keep it going up, keep it moving. We believe in companies like yours, initiatives like yours.
Okay.
We think with more initiatives from young, vibrant Africans like you doing the Cyntigra, definitely Africa will prosper.
Thank you.
As communities and as individuals.
Thank you.
Thank you.